There are only 4 Canadians in the WNBA, and today I get a chance to speak to a very special one, Kia Nurse, 3-time Olympian, professional basketball player with the WNBA and Canada's national women's basketball team. Kia, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
So a lot has changed. You're with the LA Sparks now. Talk a little bit about your ability to handle challenges and change, and sort of what does that look like for you now?
LA, because of trades, is my, I believe, 3rd team in 4 years. And so coming back from injury and being in a new place, being somebody who can be adaptable to anything, making new friends and living in new places, getting the feel for the new organization and new teammates. I think a lot of it comes from just being able to understand that I've played basketball for a really long time. So the X's and O's are very similar. The people are just different, and coming in and just doing my best in every single aspect of the game on and off the court.
You talked about being in basketball for a very long time. How are you able to connect with the rookies coming in terms of playing that leadership role?
Well, our rookies this year, Markia Jackson and Cameron Brink, were fantastic. And it was such an easy job for me. My leadership style is typically lead by example. I like to be that kind of person who shows up to the gym early, gets their work done, takes care of their body, within practice, game, preparation, all that stuff. I like to kind of lead and show how I've been able to stay in this league for so long has been to be a pro's pro.
So for you, you wear many hats on and off the court. What's more challenging, being a basketball analyst or running the Kia Nurse Elite basketball program?
Well, I'm very lucky to have the help that I do surrounding me with kind of every hat that I wear. And for Kia Nurse Elite, a lot of that is on my dad. And that's kind of been, our passion project as a family, and something that we really truly love and believe in, and creating these new opportunities for our young women in Canada that I didn't get to have as I was growing up. Our first EYBL program that we had Aaliyah Edwards in it, and now she's playing for the Washington Mystics. But I think it's honestly because that's so fun and something that I enjoy so much is not as hard. Whereas the basketball analyst stuff, it's more difficult in the sense of I'm trying to really make the game easy for those who aren't necessarily basketball gurus or people who have been in the game for a very long time. But I have the best crew around me at TSN with, Kate Burness and Leo Routens.
As we talked about this year being so busy, with the regular WNBA schedule, and you had to go to the Olympics. Talk a little bit about, what you're excited to see in terms of the next generation of professional basketball players coming from Canada.
I'm really excited for just the growth that we have in the game in Canada, and the talent level is so heavy. And that's kind of where we're trending with Canada, is that we're getting more and more young women into basketball. They're getting more success at the NCAA level, more success at the professional level, whether it's WNBA or overseas. And that pool of athletes now that we have to choose from to go represent Canada on the international stage is becoming so much wider.
Let's talk about growing the game. In your mind, what else should the WNBA be doing in terms of growth? Like, is there one main thing that you think that they should be focusing on?
I think a big piece of it is continuing for, building the momentum of the visualization and people being able to see the product and putting out the product in a way that's simple, right? And now it's becoming more accessible because, bigger networks are picking up a lot of those games and putting them on national television. And so a big piece of that for the WNBA is to continue to build on that and make the game as accessible as possible for those, not only in North America, but for those around the world as well. Because people are now coming to watch our game because they loved these players at college, Caitlin Clark especially, and Angel Reese especially. Coming in, they want to see those guys play, but then they stay because they see the rest of the league for the first time and they're like, there's more that I can cheer for.
How excited were you when you heard that Toronto got a WNBA team?
I was super excited. And this is something that if you would have asked baby Kia when she was starting out basketball at Hamilton Translate at 4 years old, if this was even a thought process, I would be like, no. And so now to be able to see it coming to fruition in the next couple of years, thinking about the impact that, Vince Carter had on me or Tracy McGrady had on me watching the Toronto Raptors, thinking about the impact that WNBA team is going to have in 10, 20, 15 years for that next generation of young women and young men who are going to be able to see that every single season, it just makes me so excited.
Laisha Clarendon announced their retirement. What was it like playing with them on the court, and talk about their leadership in the W around inclusion?
Lay is a great person, and I love the fact that it's not only the impact that they had on the court while they were playing, but the impact that they will have off the court. And being a leader, especially in that bubble season in New York, where there needed to be voices and there needed to be people who were going to take on a heavier load. And Lay was one of those people, without a doubt, was in all of those conversations, was in every meeting with us, was being that voice for us when we needed it. And I think the impact with the inclusion being a voice for those who might not have felt like there was a place in the media or on platforms in popular sports that had that voice. That's a heavy load to carry, and Lay did it with such grace and such class.
How can the W continue to use its platform, its voice to really denounce racism and sort of be the leader in inclusion? What are your thoughts on that?
It's important to remember that there's no place for racism in our league. There's no place for racism in, the comments that you're putting on people's social media. And it's important for us that we continue to use our voice to remind people that there is no place for that in our league.
Well, Kia, I'm sure we could talk for hours and hours. Thank you so much for joining us for Convos with the W. And, that much needed vacation that you talked about, I hope you have a good one.
Thank you.